Hello everyone, welcome to the next normal. I'm your host, Sister Jenna. We're broadcasting from the beautiful Brahma Kumaris Meditation Museum. Now I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there are over 9,000 Brahma Kumaris meditation centers in 110 countries. So feel free to look them up, brahmakumaris.org. If anything that you enjoy in the next normal has touched your heart, then I'm sure that maybe one of our local branches will be able to facilitate some of the interior needs that you might have. I wanted to talk today about making your mind your best friend. One of the unique things about ourselves is that we can be very negative with ourselves and we don't actually know it. How do we know that we're negative with ourselves? Well, gauge how much you criticize, judge, compare, compete, are jealous, and all of these things about other people. How often do you find that in your relationships with other people, you encounter a sense of jealousy between you and another? Or if somebody who has a lot of ego seems to be climbing up the ladder at work, you don't like that. You want to pull them down from the ladder, and you also want to defame them and say all the things that you think is wrong with them or what you think they don't deserve. There are other ways that we actually can prove that we have not made our mind our own best friend. It's the judgments that you walk around with about others in your mind. The other day we were out in the mall and we made a bet. I might have told you the story, but it has shifted my perception in my head. Three of us made a bet about somebody was not going to do something. And when we got into the car, to our surprise, the person did it. I don't know why that hurt my feelings so much. It hurt me because then I realized that I have held a limited vision of this person, that my energy expects this person to not do it, to not perform better, to not elevate their potential or their capacity, because that's just the record that I've carried in me. And on that day, the person broke that perception of me. And I felt so guilty knowing that I was contributing to that person being stuck and being in a kind of a state of consciousness where it just seemed like they're not growing anymore. So even when I observed that scene in my own life, I realized that I've even done that to myself. That I look at myself with a limited point of view. I've had a handful of relationships that I would say were strained. You know, if you want to talk like secular talk, you'd say, oh, that's an enemy. And many times when I speak about things that I've overcome, or I use as an example some of the challenges that we go through in life, I go back to those relationships that were very challenging. I remember telling a young lady the other day that maybe you hear me talk a lot about those days in my life. It's only because throughout this birth, I only can relate to suffering in a relationship because of these people. I don't have any other reference. And so there are certain things that we keep in our consciousness, and it's not friendly, it's not kind, it's not caring, it's not understanding, it's not accepting. When you make your mind your own best friend, you have to become a very good listener. One of the greatest qualities about many of my very, very close friends, they listen to me. And they don't just listen to my words, but they listen to the vibrations inside that I'm actually conveying. Because sometimes you can't convey the vibrations very clearly in words. It's too conjecture, it's too scrambled up. There's just so much happening in you. You don't know how to articulate it. My truth and my illusion have collided. And I'm not quite clear how I'm supposed to feel. But when you make your mind your own best friend, there is a virtue that I consider to be the most important virtue for any human being on the planet. And it's the virtue of honesty with yourself. Now, I don't want you to misuse the virtue of honesty and use it as a weapon that allows you to stay in the hole that you're in. Example, I could be honest and say, oh, I know I have ego and I know I do that. No. That is an element, but you can say to yourself, I know there's ego, and that ego is taking away my fortune. I have to change it. That kind of self-honesty. You see, when you make your mind your best friend, it is like the law of the universe. You cannot deceive yourself. You're not supposed to. If your mind is your best friend, you will tell your mind everything that's going on inside of you, even if it's ugly. Even if it looks like you should be embarrassed or ashamed that you're thinking like that, you spoke like that, or you did like that. So when you practice making your mind your best friend, your first and foremost important practice is listen. Listen to those thoughts you don't want anyone to know about. That's who you are. Your deepest and quietest thoughts that you cannot expose to the world, it is essential that you apply the virtue of honesty when they arise, because they are indicating a lot about the level of the friendship that you can hold with yourself. You see, you can have a friend who might be addicted to drugs or is a crook, or who steals, or, I don't know, think that everything is about them. But you still stick with them because there's something good about them too. You're going to have to develop yourself in the same way. That I know I have these weaknesses or limits. I don't like the word weakness. I like the word limitation. That maybe you do have a limitation in your character. And what your mind, being your best friend, will do, it will talk to you about it. It will address the issue. And it will help you to no longer feed that limit, but instead replace it with what your strengths are. You see, when your mind isn't your best friend, it will allow you to continue with the same behavior that is bringing you down. It's taken away your happiness. There is no peace in you, and there's no truthfulness. You're not honest with the self. And so when you stop being a best friend to yourself, you start to lie and cheat to you. You just stop accepting who you really are, or what is getting in your way, or what is your struggle. Talk to yourself about it. Try to identify what it is that's holding you back, that's stealing away your bliss and your joy, and the glow on your features, your face, in the Brahma Kumaris teachings, there are so many students and practitioners here. When you look at their faces, it just glows. It just has this aura of light around them. And you can sense that there's something unique about that one. It's a little different. If they're not glowing, they're happy. If they're not happy, they've mastered a skill that can be used in God's service. But more than anything else, when you've got a friend in yourself, your happiness is out the roof. You trust, you appreciate, you become the number one best listener to your own self. And as a result of listening so well to what your deepest inner needs are, that self-trust is huge. And that intimacy that you'll feel with yourself is priceless. So I was having breakfast with a young man the other day. Good person, wonderful person. And the person that he was projecting himself onto me wasn't who I was seeing. And I just sat across the table and I looked at him, kind of like how I'm looking at you now. And I was just trying to find in him, who is this soul? What is his real story? And I asked him if how many friends he has. Doesn't have any. Who do you spend time with? Nobody. He's a loner. And I just thought, I felt so empathetic for him. When you come onto the path of spirituality, it's where your whole life belongs to the world. You don't have to hang out with the world every day, but your whole life belongs to the world. Your heart is opened. He didn't have any friends. And even though he says he just serves himself and does everything for himself, that's not what I mean when I tell you to make your mind your best friend. What I mean is that you do that. You do what you need to do to take care of yourself. But you listen. They're like two thoughts that happen inside of your consciousness. There is one thought that is your element of truth. No matter what you do, that one thought will not leave you. It's your true self. And then there are the other thoughts of distraction and illusion and the influence of a low self-value, no worth, personal self-deception, ignorance, frustration, feeling tired with yourself. And these thoughts are coming in at the same time as your energy of truth. They collide. And if you make your mind your best friend, you can see the collision. And you can say, hold a minute. I don't feel good about what I'm going through right now. This isn't the destination that I want. When this takes over your truth, you can feel it. But because the truth never dies, when you're very quiet, that means no smartphones, no TV, no laptop, no radio, no music. When you're very quiet, then you are able to identify if you've got a friend in yourself. And when you do, it's such a great support. It's wisdom, it's lightness, it's acceptance, it's creativity, it's love, it's joy, it's responsibility, it's a friend in you will not procrastinate. A friend in you will see beneath the illusion. When you make your mind your best friend, you listen to those distracting thoughts and you choose not to feed them, because that's not what your friendship needs. When you make your mind your best friend, you invite God in. And that's what we all want. Not only for ourselves to be our best friends, but to feel this connection with God, like, I got you. I got your back. You're my best buddy. I went to pick up the Meditation on Wheels RV. It went for some fixtures. The generator was gone. The tires were old. We had to change all 6 tires. The generator, the oil, leaks, and so lots of expense on that one. But Ace RV, if you're ever in Virginia, please use them. They're the best. So Ali, I sat in his office and he asked, how are you, Sister Jenna? Just looked at him and I said, that's a loaded question. And he asked me at a time where there's been a lot of movement. And I looked at him very honestly and I said, you know, Ali, I just want to spend more time with God. And I'm not doing that in here. And he just looked at me like, oh, that is so interesting of an answer. And I smiled and I looked back at him and I said, it's not an answer, it's just where I am right now. I just want to feel God's energy in me more. And when you are a friend to yourself, you have this sense of self-trust. And when you have these conversations with people, they're really genuine. And they're true. Because that's the way you roll with yourself. You take care of yourself. So let's take this time and really cultivate making your mind your own best friend. And listen. Listen to those thoughts that you don't want many people or anyone to know. But be honest. Practice the virtue of self-honesty. And talk to it. Talk to yourself. So that truth prevails and the distractions of illusions run away. Try to visualize yourself being an embodiment of wisdom and truth. Just see how your life unfolds. How does it shape itself? All right, then let's take a few moments and really just settle in, take a breath and relax and think about some of the ideas and thoughts that I've just shared with you and see what it means to you. So in this meditation, I just invite you to close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in. Breathe in again. Breathe out. Let's take this time to just settle in the stillness of oneself. All those distracting thoughts and emotions, slow down. And what I start to focus on is the original nature of the self, a loving and powerful being. I turn to the friend in me. The one who listens to my heart. And knows me more than anyone else. I just want you to practice to sit in the company of yourself. Just turn your attention inwards. Just sit inside. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Inhale again. And exhale. Just to spend some time with yourself. One of the beautiful things about friendship is that you want to spend the whole day with them. You want to go and do things with them. Same thing with yourself. Cultivate a friendship with your own mind and enjoy the relationship thriving. So I wonder what would chat say, Santosh, with what are the benefits of making my mind my best friend? Well, improved mental health, that's a big one. Treating your mind as your best friend helps in developing a positive self-image and self-talk. It reduces anxiety, depression, and negative thinking. Enhanced self-awareness, wonderful, that's true. Building a close relationship with your mind increases self-awareness, allowing you to better understand your own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Greater emotional resilience. When your mind is your ally, you are better equipped to handle life's challenges. So true. Increased inner peace. Cultivating a friendly relationship with your mind promotes inner peace and calm. Very true. Better decision making. A harmonious relationship with your mind improves your ability to make clear, rational decisions. So true. Boosted confidence. Positive self-talk and self-support enhances your confidence and self-esteem. Enhanced creativity and productivity. A friendly mind is more open to new ideas and less hindered by self-doubt, leading to increased creativity and productivity in various aspects of life. That is absolutely a fact. Healthier relationships. When you have a positive relationship with yourself, it reflects in your interactions with others. Personal growth. Making your mind your best friend encourages continuous personal growth and self-improvement. Number 10, overall well-being. A positive mental state contributes to overall well-being, including better physical health, as stress and negative emotions can have adverse effects on the body. By nurturing a supportive and positive relationship with your mind, you do create a solid foundation for a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life. How accurate is that? I cannot believe this awakened intelligence has caught so many of our algorithms and have done so much for our lives. It just floors me, I have to tell you. It just amazes me. So let's hear what our Avak signal will be for today. To uplift even those who defame you is the duty of a wise soul. God the Father has even been defamed by his own children. Nevertheless, he continues to give them blessings and love. There are people in the world, they have mercy for those who have mercy. Devotee souls have that. But to be a knowledgeable and wise soul means to have the feelings of benefit for everyone and not to have the slightest thought of bringing a loss to yourself or to others. Only when you have feelings of mercy and upliftment for those who defame you will you be said to be a world benefactor soul. Sweet. I think I might have skipped over the Sister Gita effect. And so what I would love to do now, because we have to keep including our beautiful Sister Gita's wisdom into our production and our work, because it's like a blessing. So here is the Sister Gita effect and some nuggets from our beloved Sister Gita.
The great enemy of peace is ego. Ego makes you judge others and think about them in an unkind way. It makes you force others to do what you want them to do. In this way, you forget you are a student and that you are here in this world to learn about you. Instead of learning, if you start giving advice, telling people what they should do, and trying to change them, you are forgetting an important lesson in life. Hey, you can only change yourself, not others. So give happiness and you will receive happiness. Give peace and you will feel peace. Give sorrow and you will get sorrow in return. Create thoughts and words that give only peace and happiness. The world is filled with worry and sorrow. Do something different. Thank you. Have a great, peaceful day.
So I want to thank the family for joining us today. It's been great being with all of you and consistently growing together and having this intimacy between each other that it's making our minds so much more positive and so much more healthier. Each time I get a chance to just sit here in front of the camera and talk with you, just to talk with you, to be with you, it's so nourishing. It's nourishing for you. It's definitely nourishing for me, but it's nourishing for the whole environment. It's a blessing, isn't it? So all of you online, thank you so much. My love and good wishes and pure feelings are with you. And of course, it is my purest feelings that you'll be able to connect to the source above and really continue to take love. If you really want to reduce your attachments, you've got to practice to love everybody the same. It'll be magical. Thanks so much for joining us. I'll see you again soon. Please take care of yourselves.